Hello and welcome to Cinemaze, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the future of the DCEU. So recently DC have revealed the official title for the upcoming Birds of Prey movie, and it got me thinking about all the films that DC have promised. And believe me, there's a lot. There's so many potential projects, many of them seem like false promises. So in this video I'm going to look at some of the films that are definitely going to happen, or some of the films that interest me the most. However, today I'm not alone, and joining me on this task is Red Comics. He's got a great knowledge of these characters and he has a keen interest in some of these films. So he seemed like the best person to come and help me out. So why don't you introduce yourself, Red Comic?
Hello everybody on the internet. It's great to be collabing with Cinemaze, and I hope you all like our thoughts on the DCEU.
Thanks for joining me today. So how do you feel about the current state of the DCEU?
Well, I think that the DCEU is a disgrace to DC. I love DC and Marvel equally, and I really wish the DC movies were on par with the masterpiece that is the MCU. The movies have just been bad, incorrectly toned, poorly structured, and just don't have what makes DC great. I liked Man of Steel at first, but then grew to dislike it, but it's probably the one I like the most even though I dislike it. Batman vs Superman, I hate it. Not gonna say anything else. I think Suicide Squad is the worst movie so far. I haven't seen Wonder Woman, but I know that it's the exception in the DCEU. And Justice League is just the worst mess possible. I can't even think about it. I know I sound very negative, but not everything about the DCEU is bad. There are aspects that I like, and I think it has potential in the future, as it is improving, but it is still in chaos. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. Take it away, Cinemaze.
Yeah, I actually feel similar. Man of Steel is okay, but I think it was a bit bland at times. I enjoy Batman v Superman, but it definitely had its problems. I really don't like Suicide Squad or Justice League, and I think Wonder Woman is great and their best film by far, so you should definitely check that one out. Despite its problems though, I still think there's a chance of a bright future for DC, so let's start talking about it. Aquaman. So the first film coming up in the DCEU is Aquaman, and it hits theatres this December, and it will be Aquaman's first standalone movie in the DCEU. We've seen him before in Justice League and very briefly in Batman v Superman. We'll follow Aquaman returning to Atlantis and potentially challenging his brother for the throne. We'll see Aquaman's origin and other famous comic book characters like Mera and Black Manta, which will help flesh out the world of Aquaman. So am I excited for this movie? Yeah, I guess so. There's other movies on this list which excite me way more, but I'm interested to see what they do with it, and the trailers have seemed very epic and large scale, and that's intrigued me a lot. I think Aquaman has the potential to make or break the DCEU at this moment, as most people are down about it after Justice League, but if Aquaman works then everyone will be excited again. If you want to hear more about this, check out this video I made on how Aquaman can save the DCEU. But overall, there's a lot of potential for this movie and a lot riding on it, so let's just hope it can live up to their expectations, and based on the early reactions it sounds like it could.
Shazam. Now Shazam looks like the biggest improvement possible for the DCEU. The trailer showed us that they have gotten the character right, and they have the perfect tone. The tone is very light and comedic, which is what a movie about a kid who turns into a superhero should be like. It also looks very comic accurate, just like New 52. But while all these things seem to be done right, I'm still not excited for the movie. I just can't be, and I can't help but be skeptical. It's just DC and Warner Brothers' track record mainly, but also the production design of Shazam looks really cheap. This movie is far more grounded than any movie before it, which is good, but it all looks really cheap, the costumes most of all, and the very light tone doesn't at all fit into the franchise. But like I said, the character seems to be done right, it's a definite improvement, Zachary Levi seems to be the right casting choice, and it probably will be good.
Wonder Woman 1984. Next up is a movie that was supposed to be released in 2019, but unfortunately it's been delayed until 2020, and that's Wonder Woman 1984. This is the sequel to 2017's Wonder Woman, and it will continue the story of Wonder Woman before Batman v Superman. I really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman, like I said earlier, so I'm excited to see what they do again. This time around, I hope to see a better villain, which is possible as they're introducing Cheetah, one of her famous comic book enemies. Steve Trevor is somehow returning back from the dead, which I'm not too keen on the idea of, but if the execution is good, then I think it could work. Overall, Wonder Woman 1984 is now coming out in 2020. I'm interested to see what they could do. Hopefully it lives up to the first, and considering that the first was good, I have a lot of confidence in this film. My only worry is that it has been delayed, so maybe there's some kind of production problem, but hopefully it just means they get more time to work on the film, and therefore we'll get a better end product.
Green Lantern Corps. We all know about that Green Lantern movie from 2011 and want something better than that. For the longest time, we have known the Green Lantern Corps movie is happening, but we know next to nothing about it. A few months ago, Jeff Johns became the writer of the movie, which is great because Jeff Johns has written some amazing Green Lantern stuff, and he is apparently changing the mythos for this movie. The title and a lot of rumors tell us that this movie will not focus on just Hal Jordan, but all of Earth's Green Lanterns, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, and the worst of all, Guy Gardner. Now, I'm not sure about this, because I have never liked the fact that Sector 2814 has more than one Green Lantern. That's just my personal opinion. But with Jeff Johns writing it, maybe it'll work. And hopefully, Warner Brothers will figure themselves out by then, because there is so much potential with Green Lantern. So many things they can do. They could explore the other Lantern Corps. They could do the Manhunters. And they could even do Blackest Night. And for the longest time, people have wanted Armie Hammer or Tom Cruise to play Hal Jordan. I say no way to Tom Cruise. And I'm not sure about Armie Hammer after seeing The Lone Ranger. But whatever they do, it will be better than the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Cyborg. So apparently also for release in 2020 is Cyborg. Ray Fisher will reprise his role from Justice League as Cyborg, and that's about all we know. I liked him in Justice League, but I wish he had more to do. For a solo film, I'd like to see him act a bit less depressing and embrace the hero side to his character. I'd like to see the comic book suit that they tease at the end of Justice League as well. Overall, I don't have much to say because I don't know much about this film. So I'm not that excited for it, but I guess I'm interested to see what they do. There's a lot of films planned for release in 2020, and there's not much info on this one, so if it gets pushed back, I really wouldn't be surprised. I'd actually expect that to happen.
Birds of Prey. Now this is the movie that has always thrown me off and confused me. This movie will be about Harley Quinn, Renee Montoya, Huntress, and Black Canary teaming up to save Cassandra Cain from Black Mask. First of all, Harley Quinn being there makes it seem more like Gotham City's Sirens. Since when has she been in the Birds of Prey? And Barbara Gordon is crucial to this team, so why is she not in the movie? This movie just doesn't sound good to me, but that's not saying that it will do some interesting things. An all-female team will be something different for a comic book movie, and the synopsis suggests it will be a very street-level movie. Also, Ewan McGregor is playing Black Mask. That is actually good casting, and Ewan McGregor is a great actor, so that's one good thing. So, I really don't think that this is lining up to be good, and also, I hate Harley Quinn.
The Batman. Now, there's no known release date for this movie, but we do have a director attached, and that's Matt Reeves for The Batman. Matt Reeves was the director of the last two Planet of the Apes movies, and I think he's a great choice for Batman. Based on the Apes movies, he's a solid director. He can deal with dark tones and grounded settings, and that's perfect for Batman. But he still manages to make his movies feel hopeful, and that's exactly what Batman needs. We don't know if Affleck will return as Batman, but I really hope so, as given the right material, I think he can do a great job. We don't know the villain either, but we do know it will focus on the detective side of Batman, and that's great to hear, as we haven't really seen this side of the character before. They normally just focus on the superhero side. Overall, I'm very interested in this film, probably the most interested out of all the movies on this list, not just because it's Batman and everyone loves Batman, but because the basic premise and the director both sound like amazing choices, and could give us something new and exciting for both the DCEU and for this character.
Suicide Squad 2. I said earlier that I think Suicide Squad is the worst DCEU movie, but that's not saying that the sequel has potential. Suicide Squad 2 has been in a very weird situation. It has been through so many writers and so many different scripts, and they even had Gavin O'Connor set to direct the movie. But Warner Brothers has thrown all of that out the window. Now James Gunn is writing the movie after Disney stupidly fired him from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I had no faith in this movie before James Gunn came on board, and most of the rumors about the movie were stupid, like that rumor about Black Adam. But that Deathstroke rumor was awesome, and I hope it actually happens. But now that James Gunn is writing it, it will undoubtedly not be bad, and has a lot of potential. And this is actually very fitting, because Gunn's first pitch to Marvel wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy, it was the Thunderbolts, which is basically Marvel's Suicide Squad. Also, Warner Brothers tried to copy Guardians of the Galaxy with the first movie, which failed, and I don't think that's the right thing to do. James Gunn is most likely going to end up doing something different to Guardians and take the squad in a new direction. If he ends up directing the movie, then call me interested, but we don't know if he will.
The Flash. So this is a film which has had a large amount of production problems. It's already gone through at least 2 confirmed directors of Rick Famuyiwa and Seth Grahame-Smith, and it's been rewritten numerous times by many different writers. Now, since it has undergone so many script changes and director changes, we don't actually know much about this film. At one point it was confirmed to be based on the Flashpoint story, but we don't know if that's still the case. Apparently the tone is set to be similar to Back to the Future, and even the director of Back to the Future, Robert Zemeckis, was in talks to direct. This makes a lot of sense for this movie, as it's likely to be time travel based and both movies have a light-hearted lead, so it sounds like a good choice. I'm excited for this movie just to see what they do, as there's so much potential for this character and this setting, but the production issues involved is a bit of a worry. Like Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I'm not completely sold on Ezra Miller as the Flash, but after a film, he could easily win me over.
Deathstroke. Now, Deathstroke is the movie that is least likely to happen, but I'm talking about it because I think it is a good idea and there is passion and talent behind it. Quite a while ago, Gareth Evans pitched the idea of a Deathstroke movie to Warner Brothers, and we all know Deathstroke appeared in the post-credit scene of Justice League, and Deathstroke is played by Joe Manganiello, who is great casting actually, and is very passionate about the character. Deathstroke only appeared for 30 seconds and had 1 line of dialogue, but even after that, this is the perfect Deathstroke. So much better than the stupid version on Arrow. I haven't seen any of his movies, but Gareth Evans directed The Raid, which is known as one of the best action movies ever. That directing style would suit Deathstroke perfectly, and Deathstroke has some great story to him. There is a lot they could do for Slade Wilson's origin in a movie. But like I said, this movie is most likely not going to happen, as Gareth Evans himself has not heard anything from Warner Brothers in a long time.
As you can tell, we aren't super keen on the DCEU at the moment, but if the most recent movies are great, it can easily win us back, and it will allow us to have more confidence in the DCEU again. So going forwards, it looks like DC are focusing more on specific characters instead of ensemble films, and I think this is definitely a good move. For audiences to feel more invested in the world, we need to feel more invested in the characters, and solo movies are the way to do this. Now this video doesn't include all the DCEU films as promised. There's so many. There's Man of Steel 2, Justice League 2, Batgirl, Nightwing, Booster Gold, Gotham City Sirens, a Joker and Harley Quinn spin-off, Black Adam, New Gods, Supergirl, Blue Beetle, Justice League Dark, Legions of Doom, and so many more. DC should just cut some of these irrelevant films and focus on the important ones for the universe. Instead of promising so much, they should hone in on what they need to make now and do the more obscure films later. All these promises makes it seem like there's no vision for the universe. That being said, there is still hope for DC, and I'm excited for a lot of these films on this list. Let me know in the comments what you think about the future of DC, and let me know what movies you're most excited for. Special thanks to Red Comics, of course, for joining me on this video. I couldn't have done it without him, without his help, and without his knowledge.
Thank you Cinemaze for doing this. It was a great YouTube experience. I hope you all liked the video, and it would be great if you could check out my channel. On my channel I do videos about movies, games, comic books, reviews, versus, top 5 edits, and occasionally vlogs or something like that. I have a bunch of videos coming in the next few months, so I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and like my videos. So until next time, live long and prosper.
Special thanks to Red Comics for joining me. I couldn't have done this video without him. Be sure to head over to his channel to check out his videos and subscribe to him. He makes some great stuff and has been supporting my channel for a while now, so I really would appreciate if you could support him. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at Cinemaze channel. I often tweet about movies or about my channel, so it's a great place to stay up to date with what's going on with me. Thanks for watching Cinemaze, and more videos coming soon.